Hi, my name is Mark Sekula, and I'd like to take you through my view of doing successful account-based marketing in the B2B space. Before I get into the content, I'd like to give you an overview of my background. I've been a senior marketing professional who's led the marketing efforts at prominent B2B technology companies. I've marketed to life sciences organizations, including pharma and medical device companies, financial services area, banks and insurance organizations, public sector, manufacturing, healthcare payers, as well as other organizations like consumer packaged goods and retail. I have field and product marketing experience as well as operations. My areas of expertise include developing marketing plans and programs that generate results, leveraging integrated marketing campaigns and various tactics, as well as account-based marketing. I also develop compelling content to generate results. The first thing we want to talk about is what is account-based marketing. Well, before we do that, it's important to understand the value that account-based marketing brings to an organization. One study by ITSMA showed that almost 85% of the marketers who measure ROI describe ABM as delivering higher returns than any other marketing approach that they've used. And half of these marketers cite significantly higher returns. Another study done by Marketing Profs showed that companies with ABM in place generate 208% more revenue for their marketing efforts. So the value is clear. And another thing that is important is to understand a little bit deeper the impact of doing account-based marketing. When you look at the impact to an industry, individual, to an executive, or to a person in a specific job function, one study by Simply Direct showed that 82% of prospects value content targeted at their specific industry. 75% of executives will read unsolicited material that contains ideas that might be relevant to their business. And 67% find content targeted at their job function valuable. Another study by Aberdeen Research showed that 75% of customers say that they prefer personalized offers. So this just adds to the fact that personalizing, targeting, and focusing even more so with account-based marketing will get you even higher results. So the value of ABM is that if you gain a deep insight into the client's business and key goals, this will allow you to understand how the capabilities and solutions you have as an organization can help target the account and address their major business issues. And this in turn will help you to sustainably grow and profit from that information within your most important clients. So in order to understand what ABM is, you need to discuss what it isn't. First of all, account-based marketing is not mass marketing. Mass marketing looks at all businesses, all individuals within those businesses, and says, there's no distinction. I'm going to communicate my message out and, spray and pray. Then there's target marketing. Target marketing takes more of a, as it says, targeted approach to how you're going to address the market. You may focus on one industry, or you may focus on a subset or a niche within that industry. With account-based marketing, you go a little deeper. You go into the actual accounts within that industry and you market to an account as if it is a market of one. And you also look at the people that make up that organization to understand their individual characteristics and how you can approach them with solutions that address their business goals as a company. If you look up definitions on the internet, you'll find many organizations have their own definition of what account-based marketing is, whether it's focusing on key accounts, which is a part of it, being strategic about it, gathering insights, and collaborating as a team towards a common goal. But if we look at the key elements of account-based marketing from these types of definitions, we'll find that it's a key select account or accounts that we're going to go after. We're going to have a strategy around that account. We have to look at that account as a individual account of one, a market of one, and how we can approach getting into that account with our products and services. What's going to resonate with that account? So it's a process of identifying insights into that account and leveraging those insights with integrated marketing initiatives that will give you measurable impact to your bottom line. It also involves collaboration between various individuals in the organization as a strategy from sales and other parts of the organization. And the two most important groups involved are sales and marketing, but there are other stakeholders involved, like delivery professionals and other stakeholders, product marketing and product management, various other groups, and industry marketing if you're marketing to a particular industry. The key is the objective is to meet account unique business objectives or goals. What's needed to do ABM effectively then? Well, I believe there are three key things you need to have in order to do account-based marketing effectively. One is commitment. The second one is leadership, and the third is a plan. I want to go through each one of these individually. As far as commitment, you need more than what this is saying in the cartoon. Do we have your commitment? Yes and no. Well, you need a commitment that's solid, right? You need a commitment from the key stakeholders, the sales group, the marketing group, and other key stakeholders that might be involved. For example, product marketing, product management, industry marketing, your analyst relations folks, and partner alliances, to name a few. Again, we need leadership. And leadership is not, having a boss that's going to lead the process and make sure it happens. It's having leadership from all parts of the organization and not by the title of the person. So sales and marketing, the key stakeholders in this, with sales leading the charge, because typically the account is in essence owned by the sales representative or sales executive, and that person should lead the proper approach to marketing, given they know the account better than anyone. Now, the marketing folks have to understand the account as well and do research and understand the account with the sales representative, but ultimately sales needs to lead the forward motion. And of course, other key stakeholders need to have leadership in their areas as well to ensure everyone's on the same page going in the same direction. And I like this quote: leadership is action, not position. Another thing that's important is the planning of ABM. Without planning, well, as Ben Franklin once said, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So you really need to look at the key elements of where you are today, where you're going, and the various aspects of planning. So you need to look at the who, what, when, where, how, and why. What do you want to get out of account-based marketing and by when? Why are you even doing account-based marketing? What's your goals with it? How will you know when you've been successful? What are your measurements? Who should be involved and why? How much budget do you have or will you need? Depending on your organization, some organizations will ask you to tell them how much budget you will need. Others will say, you only have this much. So depending on what kind of organization you're working for is going to determine the answer to that question. When will you start and end? Is there going to be a specific time where you say, we're going to start in the middle of the year and we're going to go to the end of the year and see how it goes? Or we're going to go for a whole year and we're going to do various campaigns, very targeted at this one account or several accounts. How many and which accounts will you target? A very important aspect of your planning is it going to be one account that you're going to test? Maybe a handful of accounts that you're going to test? Maybe you're going to do 10 accounts and see how it goes. Maybe market to them, market to specific accounts that have a similar type of requirement across a particular area. The next thing you need to do is choose the right accounts and contacts. So how do you go about choosing the right accounts? Well, you can look at it in several ways. You can look at the top accounts that have potential to produce revenue for your company. You could do that by tiering your accounts and saying, here are the top 10 that we feel, based on maybe our relationship with them in some way, shape, or form, that we might be able to get more revenue in various areas of the business if we understood their business better. It could be you don't have any business at that organization. It could be a competitor's account, and there's a lot of opportunity there that maybe your competitor isn't really looking and doing account-based marketing that you can basically take from them. Other areas, you can look at the accounts that have the strongest internal connections. Another way of looking at it, if you have a strong connection with several people in the organization, maybe they can help you expand your business from maybe one location to multiple locations, or multiple areas within that location to other parts of the organization with different products and services. So there are multiple ways to look at this. So once you've defined the accounts, you need to define the target contacts. And that's going to take looking at, who is the type of person that is going to be acquiring your products and services. And by first looking at the account and doing some research on the account, you'll understand, who best maps to your particular product. For example, your product may be involving doing certain things in the organization, and the key people that handle that are in the accounting area. Well, looking at the accounting area, maybe it lowers cost. Well, who would care about that? Probably the CFO. But there may be other people that care about that, because it not only lowers cost, but it improves productivity. And maybe the managers are interested in, and their part of their business is they need to control the productivity of the organization. Additionally, maybe your solution is very, very easy to use relative to others in the industry, and that's where the end user comes into play. So you have multiple personas that you could be going after, and your message should hopefully hit on all of them, or one of them at a time. The other thing is you have to look at is your message. What is the message you want to convey to the persona or personas that you're going after? And what channels are you going to go after and leverage? So email communications, the internet, social media, conferences, live events, webcasts. What is the best channel to leverage with your particular product and service? So regarding key contacts, you need to define the key contacts personas, as I've mentioned. Who are the key contacts who will be helped by your product or service? What do they do? What do they care about? How can you help them care about what you provide? So how can you help them to know what you provide and why it's important to them? The best way to reach them. Some people read emails. Maybe they would, more likely be going to a common conference and you want to meet them there. Or maybe they would go to a webcast if it was, pinpointed the key challenges they have in their organization relative to what you find out about that particular account and the particular contacts in the account. So this requires research on your part on the company and the contacts. So where do you get contact data? It's a good question, right? Well, obviously sales should have some of that data, and it's in your internal database. Additionally, you may want to use external databases to augment your existing contact data, like databases from Discover.org, what used to be RainKing, provides not only contact data, but more detail about what the person does in the organization, projects going on, challenges they're facing, and potentially who cares about those challenges. So this would help you in your account-based marketing targeted approach. Additionally, solutions or services like Hoovers, OneSource, Jigsaw, and ZoomInfo can provide good contact data and information about the account. So the next thing is choosing the right message and content and the proper channel. Let's talk about the message. What should be your message based on the value proposition you have? Does it need to be changed slightly for the persona you're going after? For example, if you're going after the executive, they care about, for example, maybe lowering costs or increasing profits? What would your message be to them? As far as the manager, they care about understanding maybe the flow of operations. What could be your message to them? Maybe showing them dashboards and how they can understand what's going on at every step of the way. If it's the end user, maybe they care about ease of use. They care about getting certain reports out of the system. And what is the best content type to communicate your message? Is it good to do a video? Would a video testimonial help? Would a case study help? Would a combination of those help? Would doing an ebook to show your thought leadership around an area help? Or a blog post? How are you going to build thought leadership? Are you going to go to specific conferences and speak at those conferences where the accounts that you're going after are going to be? Because remember, you're focusing on these key accounts, but there's a chance they're going to be going to the same type of conferences that other accounts are going to. So you hit basically two birds with one stone, and it's the best way to get your word out. Also, you need to determine the best channel. Should you send a direct mail out? Should you do email? Another thing to consider is the content type for the message. Like I mentioned, is a video the best approach? Video testimonial, or a video showing an animation, maybe showing how your product can help them in their organization, your product or service. Would a blog post be of value? A thought leadership blog post that you put out on your website, but you also communicate through various channels like LinkedIn or Facebook if it makes sense for your particular company. Would a custom brochure to that organization talking about the types of services and products you provide that are specific to their organization be helpful, and sending it to the key stakeholders? Maybe they don't know what you provide and how it relates to their business goals. You determine what content makes the most sense relative to your target audience is the bottom line. And as I mentioned, determine the channel that makes the most sense. Email is a very hot area right now. Most companies look at email as a growing part of their marketing efforts. However, there are other ways to get across your message and to get to the right people in those organizations. Direct mail, doing a 3D mailer, something that when they get it, they have to open it up and look at it, like a video card or a sound card. Doing a live event specifically for that account, or going to conferences where those accounts are going to learn about how they can fix the particular business problems that you found they have. Leveraging social media, put posts out there that that those people are going to read, maybe going to groups on LinkedIn that they're a member of, to post the information that's thought leadership and or about your solutions that can help them. So there are many channels you can go through, and it's determining the optimal ones that are going to help you in your account-based marketing efforts. Another key aspect is to look at the buyer's journey. And for those who are not familiar with the buyer's journey, it goes from awareness to evaluation to decision. Awareness, you're educating on the problem that they have, or maybe they already know they have a problem, or maybe you're educating them on what a problem that they don't even know they have, based on their goals and what they show in maybe their annual report, or what you learned from looking in Rain King or Discover.org, I should say, as to challenges they're having or projects that they're doing, and how you could address those problems. And then considering the solution is where you show them how your solution will help them. And making a decision, this is where you further give them information to solidify how you can help them and that you're the best choice for them. So during this process, you're going to want to have tactics and assets that will help along the buyer's journey. And you want to create programs. For example, you may put together an educational webinar where you're educating the customer, prospective customer, as to what the problem is. Okay, and what are potential ways to solve the problem? You're kind of taking them down the path of that a product, specifically your product or service, can help them in solving their problem. And you're backing it up with the fact that other companies have said that they've been very happy with what the solution has been through case studies, video testimonials, things of that nature. You want to use the appropriate assets along this buyer's journey to lead to a purchase. That's basically what the buyer's journey is all about. Another thing to consider is how can you leverage the appropriate marketing tactics along the pipeline that goes from awareness to closure, okay? And also loyalty, because after the sale, you're going to want to keep promoting different things to them, different capabilities of your product, or maybe additional products that relate to the product you've already sold them. And you want to build that loyalty. But you want to leverage existing things going on in your organization. Maybe you're part of a smaller group and your account could be moved along or taken along the pipeline journey by having them go to an industry forum where they'll learn more about specific areas, goals they have, and how certain products or services can help them. Or maybe they'll go to a webinar that's already happening, right? Or other types of activities that your company's doing. The key is that you want to leverage existing tactics in your account-based marketing. You also want to create new tactics where needed, whether it be putting together a dinner with executives or others in the organization where maybe the account that you're selling to, you talk about their business requirements and specifically relate those business requirements to the types of products that you can provide them to solve those business problems. This shows that you really care about them as an account, that you've taken the time and effort to do that. Additionally, you may want to do, on-site lunch and learns, things of that nature, or create a user group for just their particular account from different group locations. So one location or account, portion of the account, can sell another location on the same product or various other products. The key elements to ABM targeting include these 4 pieces. You need to have the right data, the right internal and external information for proper targeting. So you want to get information where needed from external sources, but use your internal sources as much as possible, because typically if a salesperson gives you information, it's going to be accurate. You want to also look at your message. It has to be compelling, consistent, and it has to be targeted to the persona and the pain and benefit that they will get from leveraging your particular product or service. Not only do you have to come up with the proper message, but you have to come up with the proper content that you're going to leverage. If you don't have the proper content, then your message may not be looked at. So for example, if you send an ebook out and it's a long, lengthy ebook that really they don't have time or energy to read, then you've probably wasted a lot of time. Maybe a better approach would be to create a blog post with part of that ebook, post it in social media, and then say, for more information on this topic, read the ebook and see if they download it. That shows interest, right? So it depends on your audience. I think the attention span of a human is shorter than that of a goldfish. This has been studied and it's true. So maybe the shorter types of more short video or some kind of short read would be more effective. And additionally, there's the channel aspect. Where do your target audience go? Where do they go when they want to read something or hear something? Do they go to certain conferences? Do they go to certain live events? Is it something you should create that they can come to? Would a webinar do well for them as opposed to a live event? Is there a certain conference they go to? Do they participate in social media? Maybe a percentage of them do, and you want to kind of target those people based on where they go. So how do you start account-based marketing? So in order to start account-based marketing, there are three specific phases. There's the understand phase. This is where you understand the account. You look at developing an overview of the account. You pick the accounts that you want to target. And like I said, it could be anywhere from 1 to 20 to 50, whatever you feel is your target and you can reasonably do. And also your goal for, for those accounts as far as revenue. Understand the current situation, understand their mission, what their objectives are, what technologies they use, their focus, the focus of their business, number of employees, mission, areas of improvement. And areas of improvement can be gotten from maybe reading their annual report, maybe get some idea of that, or you go to other sources like Discover.org, like I mentioned, and find out not only the challenges they have, but also, projects that they're doing and things of that nature. Do you have any key relationships at the account that you can leverage? If you have someone that is, for example, a customer in one area of the business and you have multiple locations, maybe that person can be leveraged to sell to other and market to other groups within the organization. What's a potential opportunity? Where is the white space? Where are the competitors vulnerable in areas? Right. So that's all defining the account and opportunity within the account. The next thing is to, once you have all that information, is what really are what are you looking to accomplish? You have to define that. So in this account, I want to sell X number of dollars of business in this area. Okay, set a goal by this time frame, and by doing that, you're putting together a goal. You're putting together what you want to accomplish, and by understanding the white space and where you have the opportunity to do that, then it's a matter of putting together the plan of how you're going to do it. What are the tactics, the personal content you're going to need to put together to present a story to them of how you can help them. You want to educate them. You want to bring them into the bring them to consider you as the solution they really need. And do this throughout the year, or pick a time frame. Maybe you're going to do it for 6 months and see where you are at that point and see what progress you've made. Have you closed any business? Have you moved any business farther along because of leveraging this type of process? You need to have responsibilities for sales, for marketing, and others in the organization to help in the process. This is not just sales. This is not just marketing. It's a dedication and commitment to the leadership within the organization. And again, it's not the bosses, because it's not about the bosses, but it's about people taking on responsibility and knowing that without them and without everyone contributing, it's not going to happen. There are some key things that you should consider when looking at responsibility of sales and marketing. For example, with the sales leader, they typically can help define the account. They know key contacts. They know the white space, or they should. Marketing can help with that as well by adding to the contacts, leveraging different databases and things of that nature. They can also help define the accounts that we should go after. But the main focus should be on sales lead. They should define the marketing plan with marketing. Marketing can put together a marketing plan, but sales should be very integrated with that and make sure that they agree with all the tactics and the process that you're going to go through to move an account from awareness to consideration to closure or the decision. And you need to leverage existing relationships with the clients as much as possible. That's why with account-based marketing, being able to understand who your key contacts are and leveraging them in a very positive way can help you expand existing implementations of your products in other areas of the business. So as far as marketing lead, the marketing lead should develop the marketing plan with sales involved and other stakeholders as well, not just sales, but sales would be the key stakeholder. And the reason others need to be involved is for twofold: to get their input as to, does it sound right? And also, they're the owners a lot of times of the content, and you want them to agree that what you're doing is going to help build business for the company. So you need to define what the content is going to be, and marketing should be involved in content creation, whether there's a group that creates the content or the marketing person actually is involved in creating the content themselves. You should try to build thought leadership and have speakers both internally and externally that you can leverage. And you need to acquire the right contacts working with sales for the personas that you're going after for that account. And also determining the right venue, whether it's a live event, a webinar, what are the best tools to use when you're at a conference? What are the best conferences to attend? Why are you attending that conference? What key personas are going to be there? How can you meet those people? Can you get a presentation? Can you do your own event where you can invite those key stakeholders in the accounts that you're going after to a very intimate dinner at that event, or a breakfast for that matter, to talk to them one-on-one about their challenges and how your products and services can help them? And then you have to look at the resources, both internally and externally, that you'll need. Internal resources, well, you're going to need industry experts from the company. You're going to need potentially partners involved, alliances, because maybe your product integrates with some other company's products. And again, from the technology space, this obviously is very clear when you're a software company where you work with other vendors, or if you're a services company and you rely on the product vendor. So it's important to understand what resources you need when you're putting together your marketing plan for targeting these accounts or account that you're going after. How is the analyst person going to help? Maybe it's putting an analyst report together around for your key accounts that you're going after. It's a common report that maybe you can use across all those accounts that shows that you're a leader in the industry in this particular area. And then it's putting together the right events that are targeted towards this account and making sure the branding and your PR are appropriate. And again, the external type of people you're going to need relate to obviously internal. You want to get the right analysts, you want to get the right partners and other clients. It's so important that maybe you can leverage a client to sell one of these key accounts you want to sell, leveraging a video testimonial or leveraging a webcast with that client. Very important way to get business. So the key objectives could be revenue, could be building relationship, or some other key objective. But typically companies are going to want to grow revenue. And the relationships are important too, because that helps you to improve loyalty and helps you to expand, land and expand. What key conferences to attend, what key events to develop, what content is needed along the buyer's journey, and what results are required. So for example, maybe you're targeting 25 accounts. And what you're going to want to do is determine, for example, what new and existing content can you leverage? What analysts can help you with a particular aspect of what you're trying to do? Maybe it's an analyst for a webinar. What type of online activity do you want to do that's going to move one account or maybe several accounts that have the same type of objectives or goals along the sales cycle? Is it an email to target them with a specific pain they have? Also, is it to a particular persona within that account? Or is it across all of the personas with a little bit of message around each one of their areas to give them enough knowledge to say, yeah, that's important to me. And then there's a social aspect. I'm a real strong believer in using LinkedIn. Using LinkedIn to target. Maybe the salesperson is involved in targeting. If you're familiar with Sales Navigator, you can put together a page in Sales Navigator using Point Drive, and that sales representative can send it out to their client with specific targeted information to them, and then check if they actually looked at it. So that's one aspect. It could be doing a webinar and posting it in LinkedIn so that people see it. there as well, or a blog post, or other aspects that would help you. A hosted event, telling about that, in there that, that maybe they want to attend it. And then there's conferences and hosted events. What conferences are going to make the most sense? When do they happen? How are you going to promote yourself? Are you going to have a opportunity to speak and host a session there? That would be important. Are you going to do your own roadshow across the country and see how you can get people to it? You need to use buyer's journey tactics focused on your products and services to help to make it real. And the resources required are very important. An analyst to write a report or to speak, a custom for a case study or a video testimony or to speak at an event. Very important things to think about that will help you to move that account from aware to interest to decision to buy your product or service. So how are you going to track the activities? Well, there's quantitative activities. Did we get connected with key contacts? Is there an increase in traffic to our website because of our actions? Did we get a meeting with a key contact in that account? And again, you're looking at this particular account or accounts that you're targeting. Are the contacts downloading assets you sent them? Did we get a new RFI or RFP? Did you generate any new business? These are all quantitative. On a qualitative side, which means that you're not quantifying it, it's more loosey-goosey, but still at the same time important. Are you becoming well known within the account? Are people seeming to come to you to say, hey, do you know about this or do you know about that? Is there an account coming to us to gain knowledge? Basically, is there a knowledge base that you have that the account is really interested in? So there are multiple ways to go about putting together a account-based marketing framework. ATSMA has this particular framework. I shared mine with you. This is obviously different, but they start out with program planning and pilots, governance, integration with selling, program success criteria, program account selection criteria, pilot account selection. And then they go on to account-specific planning and implementation. Discovery, identify target audiences, define and select plays, create new value propositions, build ABM campaign plan, execute the plan, measure, and review. Again, these are similar to what I've talked about with you. So what technology is needed for ABM? A really important question. So many companies are using sales automation today, and companies like Salesforce.com being one of them. There are many others, but taking Salesforce.com, obviously you have contacts in there that you can leverage. You can pull that information out and do a lot of things manually, because if you're not looking at a huge number of accounts, when I say manually, having sales communicate out messages, having marketing communicate message out effectively, that to me is probably the least automated process that you could possibly have. A better approach would be to use a marketing automation system that's integrated with your sales automation system in some way, shape, or form to put together marketing tactics and generating communications, email communications, and specific targeting of those accounts, leveraging a marketing automation system. If you want to go a little deeper, there are account-based marketing automation systems that go even further. For example, Trebillio. I'm pronouncing that correctly, but Trebillio will allow you to do campaigns where if you send out an email communication, someone who responds to it goes to your website, you provide them with a custom page, web page, and custom information on that page based on the email you sent them and the information that would be most pertinent to them as a VP of whatever. Okay. Other things that could be leveraged with account-based marketing is LinkedIn Sales Navigator. I mentioned this before. There's Point Drive, for example, that you could put together custom web pages that you can then email a contact using LinkedIn data and actually check if they actually go to your page. And if they do go to the page, what do they click on? A very powerful tool that sales could use and or marketing could use to do effective campaigns. So what are the challenges of ABM? Challenges around ABM, there are quite a few, you know. So, one of the main challenges is getting the appropriate budget. If you don't have your appropriate budget, depending on what you want to do, you're not going to be very productive. So you have to map out what really is needed to be effective and efficient in what you're doing and try to get the budget for that. And maybe you don't have to spend a lot of money up front, okay? And leverage the tools you have in a very productive way. For example, when I did account-based marketing at one of the organizations I worked, we did a mailer of a letter, which I'll talk about later, and that was very effective because we targeted the key individuals and we put a Starbucks card in there, very inexpensive way to get their attention and hopefully get a meeting, and it did work. You need sales engagement. If you don't have sales engagement, you might as well forget about it. It's not just engagement, it's commitment. It's working with you to get it done. If they're doing 20 other things and they're worried about their quota and this account isn't that important to them, then I would question even doing account-based marketing. And I've been at companies where, yeah, let's focus on these accounts, but the account salesperson is not committed to it. Is not willing to spend the time and effort to help. But I've been in other organizations where they're very interested in helping because they know the value of doing things this way. You need to look at the resources you have that constrain you. Look at them from the perspective of, for example, maybe there are certain things you can't do with email. Maybe you need to call the account. Maybe you can't even call the account. What type of resources, budget-wise or otherwise, that you have that will stop you from doing what you need to do, and put them in writing ahead of time so you know what you're facing. It's also time sensitive. You should have a time frame when you're doing this. So putting together all the content, the activities you're going to do, and just putting together the front end of material about the account takes time. And if you don't do that up front, you're kind of wasting your time, because unless you know the account fairly well, you're not going to be able to market to them effectively and address those challenges and issues and objectives they have to grow their business if you don't understand their business. And again, sales should be very actively involved in that. Another thing is justifying the cost by providing ROI to the business. Companies are going to look at, well, if you're going to take this much budget, what kind of return are we going to get? Are we going to get, a $500,000 sale, or are we going to get a $50,000 sale? And there's a big difference, obviously, if you're spending $25,000 on budget. So you want to be able to justify it based on what you think you're going to get, and then measure that you actually did get it. So I'd like to show some examples of, now I'd like to talk about 3 examples that I've done in my career that may be of value to those listening. One is my veto letter campaign. Another one is leveraging a key conference around key accounts. And the other is ABM marketing to one target account. So at one of the organizations that I worked, we were looking at trying to get into some key accounts in manufacturing and life sciences industries. And the challenge is that we were having trouble getting into those accounts. So what I did was, talk to some of the key sales executives and talk to them about putting together a very targeted campaign, leveraging a letter and a Starbucks card that we would include in the letter. And we targeted 30 accounts and roughly 2 to 3 contacts per account. The letter was to a VP, senior director, or director level in the company, and I reviewed all the accounts using Discover.org, which used to be called RainKing, to find unique projects or challenges that company was having that we could talk about in the letter. So in the letter, we'd highlight our experience in areas where the company may need assistance based on what I read about their projects at the organization, their challenges. In the letter, I stated that the salesperson would be calling them on a specific date and time, and also asked for a face-to-face meeting. So this letter was coming from the salesperson, and they were asking that they were going to call and do they want to call a certain time and date, and also wanted to have a face-to-face as well. So the salesperson would also email a similar type of content as you got closer to the date and time that they were going to call, as a reminder. In the postscript of the letter, an email, it stated that the sales representative will call on that specific time and date, as I mentioned, with the Starbucks card in there. And it was a handwritten envelope to catch their attention. And again, not many people get mail these days like that, so it would stand out. And the results over 6 months were that we targeted 22 accounts and 77 custom letters were sent. We got 3 meetings, 3 meetings that generated business. 2 were with CIOs, 1 was with the director level, and over $6 million in revenue for the company, which was significant. So what we learned from this is that, this is account-based marketing. This is an example that you could use today to be effective in your organization. Another example is leveraging a key conference to be effective. When I was at one of the organizations I worked at, we wanted to meet the top key executives in the organization in the medical device industry. And we've come to find this one event is where a lot of CEOs go and speak on stage, and gave us a great opportunity to meet these people face to face and also participate with them in various aspects, whether it be this panel discussion or at this dinner that the organization ran the conference. So we sponsored a key aspect of the conference and multiple activities at the conference where we had the exposure to these CEOs. Now, through our sponsorship, we were able to meet several of the key CEOs, as I mentioned, and had multiple opportunities generated from those exposures. We leveraged this with the CIO at one of the companies, and that helped the salesman get 3 different opportunities at that organization. So this generated meetings with several key accounts, and it gave us exposure to multiple millions in revenue at several accounts. So what I'm trying to point out here is account-based marketing could be to a broader group of accounts which may have the same type of challenges, and you can address them all in one particular conference and maybe a conference in some other activity. The third example I'd like to talk about is targeting one key account. In this scenario, we had one key medical device customer of the company I worked for, and they were using one of the solutions in their business at one of the locations. Our objective was to expand the solution to others in other different locations so that it would be used at multiple locations, just not the one. And sales provided an understanding of the account and the key objectives and mapped it to our solutions. For example, the salesperson they have this key challenge in this area, and this is the solution that we provide that addresses that. And so we were able to target our solutions more effectively to their business needs and their objectives. So the first thing is we educated them with a community site that was created that had the types of solutions that several of the locations were using of products that were important to their organization running. We leveraged a video testimonial case study from one location and exposed that to other locations that needed to know about that. And we also did email communications to all the other locations to make them aware of what the other location is using. So we expanded the use of the solution at multiple locations as a result of this. And the customer now has a deeper loyalty to our organization because of it. So I hope I've provided a good understanding of account-based marketing, what it is, how to approach it, and some examples of how you can do it effectively in a very targeted way. What we've covered today was, what is account-based marketing, the benefits of it, what's involved, some major challenges, and examples of ABM in action. So I thank you for your time. I wish you the best of luck in your journey with account-based marketing. And if you need to contact me, please do so via my email or phone as provided on this page. Thank you.